Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new TJ's World According to Wrestling. And I'm your host, TJ Wiggins, and I'm here to talk to you about Impact Wrestling, Friday Night Smackdown, and AEW Rampage. Let's go ahead and get started. Hikledu, I'm sorry, I keep, mispronouncing his name, but, that's the best I got. Chris Bay and the other guy, Switchblade. They beat Finjuice and Chris Sabin, the Bullet Club. They win. It's nothing really spectacular. You already know who's going to win. But Heath Slater comes out there for a promo and calls out Rhino, only for it to be answered by Violent by Design. They interrupt with Young saying that he speaks for Rhino and that Rhino should just do what he says. But Violent by Design, they beat, they start beating up Heath Slater. They just leave him laying with that Rhino coming out there because his loyalties, it still hasn't, been proven or validated yet. Next, Mercedes Martinez was, in a 6-woman tag, and they won. Macklin wins a triple threat for a shot at the X Division title, defeating, Maple Leaf Muscle Petey Williams and Black Taurus. He'll be wrestling at Bound for Glory. It's going to be awesome. Next, we have the main event, which is Christian Cage and Josh Alexander versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. It was a good match. Cage and Alexander won. Alexander had the ankle lock on Ace Austin, but he eventually kicks out and they kick to the corner. And when they were trying to, do a roll up in the corner there, Christian actually tags himself in. And then when Austin pushes off Alexander, Alexander's about to go for another move, but when he turns around, Cage already had the unprettier on Ace Austin. So he just lays him flat. He spurts like, oh well. And they win. And Alexander's pissed that he didn't get credit for the win because he supposedly had him where he wanted him. And, that leads to tension. That's going to lead to the Bound for Glory match, which is going to be something to watch. Next on SmackDown is what the fuck? Lynch is sitting next to a table on the ramp. Belair's in the ring with the table, and Banks is just sitting on top of the fucking announcer's table. What the fuck? And they're all, trash talking and bad mouthing each other about, the women's title being on the line at Crown Jewel. So eventually, like with all these contract signings, it eventually breaks into chaos, and they try to do the spot where Belair lifts both Banks and Lynch up at the same time to do the, the kiss of death thing to both of them. But Belair just wasn't strong enough to put both women on her shoulder at the same time. So she releases Banks, and Banks tries to attack her, but Belair kicks her in the stomach, and then uses Lynch, his foot, to hit her in the face, and she gets on top of the table, supposedly to be laying out. And, Belair hits Lynch with the kiss of death onto Banks that goes through the table, so it lays them both out at the same time. Next, we have a first round match for the King of the Ring tournament, Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn takes off the turnbuckle, and then Don comes out there and tries to put on the turnbuckle himself instead of, why not fucking handing it to the referee to show the ref that he was clearly cheating, and that could have disqualified Sami Zayn, but, that's just how a competent person looks. But instead, Zayn pushes Mysterio into the turnbuckle, and then he rolls him up for the win. So, Zayn advances into the tournament. Selena Vega versus Toni Storm in the first round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Why the fuck did you not have Toni Storm win this match? I literally wrote, you could already tell who was going to win this match just by who was put in this match. And then I immediately crossed it out when 2 minutes later, Selena Vega fucking won. How? Why? That is fucking ridiculous. Reigns, comes out there, cuts a promo, tells Heyman to come clean, and Heyman, smoothly talks it over about how he doesn't care about Lesnar, his loyalties are to Reigns, and then he does, the ending of Lesnar's, the promo he did with Lesnar. That's not a prediction, it's a spoiler, and all that junk about how Reigns is going to win. And Carmella beats Liv Morgan in a match I really don't give a fuck, but so you're seriously going to have Zelina Vega versus Carmella in the second round of the tournament. That is absolutely ridiculous. Should have goddamn been Toni Storm. Toni Storm should have been in the finals of this fucking Queen of the Ring tournament, but we'll see how it goes. Cesaro takes on Finn Balor, and it was a great match. And Balor wins with the coup de grace. There were some nice spots that showed off Cesaro's strength, and they actually had a handshake before the match to show that, hey, it was no hard feelings. This was another first round match in the King of the Ring tournament, and Balor advances to take on Sami Zayn. And then the main event, Rollins comes out there and calls out Edge, and Edge, drives up to the arena. And, Edge does the stupid thing where he tries to choke him out with one of the, handles or whatever. One of the supports of the folding chair instead of actually hitting the motherfucker with the chair. But he rolls out of the ring, and then Edge challenges him to a Hell in a Cell match. So, I'm wondering what that's going to be like. But that's, Friday Night Smackdown. And on to AEW Rampage. The first match was Punk versus Danny Garcia, and I believe that this match kind of went on too long. But there was this nice spot where, 2.0 was wrapping Punk's legs around the ring. And, with him being as old as he is, that's definitely supposed to be hurting him and devastating him. Punk does a dive onto Garcia in 2.0. And then for the finish of the match, as Punk does a pile driver on Garcia and then hits the Anaconda Vice, and Garcia taps out. The second match was Lucha Brothers versus the Acclaimed for the AEW tag belts. The Lucha Brothers win. It's just one of these. It was an alright match. There's just a lot of moves and shit. But there was this really stupid spot where Penta already had his leg, trapped by one of the Acclaimed members. And Rey Fenix literally looked at it and acted like he and Penta were both going to do a double suicide dive onto the outside of the ring together. I'm like, no, you fucking idiot. Your brother's already been caught. But, the Lucha Brothers hit this double tag move, and they win the match. Jade beats up some jobber. And then, for the final match, the main event, is Ricky Starks against Brian Cage in a Philly street fight. It's a Philly street fight because they're in Philadelphia. But there were a lot of moves and furniture being thrown around, kind of lost track. But for the finish of this match, Hook comes out there and hits Cage in the nuts, hits a low blow on him in the corner. And then Starks, that's how Starks was able to pick him up because he was already elevated onto the turnbuckles. Moves into the center of the ring and hits a Dominator on him. And Starks won the match. I would kind of think that Cage would have been winning this match for him to get some of his heat back. For him to finally get some comeuppance. But I don't know if that's ever going to come, or this going to be another, long-running feud that will never end. But hey, we'll see what happens in the future. And that's been wrestling for you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Ring the notifications bell. Thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.